What's up, Union Arena players? This is Kyle D, better known as Universities, and today we're going to be looking at week, I would say three. Go three. We'll call it three. Of none other than our good friend Union Arena. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So it's been a hot second since we've done this, but week three, I figured it'd be a good time. I'm finally settling into the house. It's a good time to start talking about the meta and stuff like that. So I used to do this very much once a week, and I think a lot of players enjoy these kind of videos. So Roy Mustang definitely getting the 7 to 9 win category, with also none other than the Squad Zero, both showing very pivotal strengths that the both deck's play style revolves around removal and has great answers to a lot of the meta. So it's good to see where the deck is standing and faring against others. So we kind of knew that Roy was going to be another big top contender, but it looks like Yellow Brothers is doing extremely well. So is Toto, so is Gawain. You know, you even have Sword Art Online Blue still doing well, and even the Goddesses appearing from time to time. Then you also do have, you know, Black Clover Red doing extremely well into the meta. You know, Lancelot's popping in, and I expect some change-ups in 2 weeks when Lancelot is finally released fully. Then you have Lust being Lust, aka the purple deck for you know who, and that is the Homunculus deck. So with Father being just the absolute best Father in FullMetal Alchemist, yeah. Then we have Blue JJK doing some shenanigans with Big Sukuna. But you can definitely see, you know, Blue JJK starting to fall to the wayside. Saitama still doing pretty decently well. It does have some good favorable matchups. Bambi, you know, we did get a Byakuya list. We got regular Sukuna doing some shenanigans as well. Speedo Sound Sonic, you know, Purple Bleach, which is just natural purple bleach. Then you do have Megami, you know, King Bradley, and then Bragg's deck. So it's good to see where decks are kind of following. So let's get into what we're kind of expecting, right? So here is the Bragg's deck. This is, you know, just big Bragg's energy. You know, Olivia here is basically when played, switch all Bragg affiliate characters on the field to active. Great defensive and, you know, offensive ability, to be honest with you, because then you can set things up. When attacking, you may place one card from your hand into your sideline. If you do, choose up to one character on the field with 2 or more base AP, switch it to active. So this allows you to get multi-attacks in, especially with your Alex Armstrong, that's going to deal 2 damage, and if they block, you know, you're drawing 2 cards off the deal. At least it's once per turn. But then you have like Buccaneer that's has impact. This character gains 1000 DP and impact. If you have 3 or more affinity Bragg affiliate cards on your field, reduce this card's AP by 1 while in your hand. So yeah, it just comes down to just a very good deck in general. It just has Northern Wall of Braggs. It's just a good removal. But at the end of the day, just take it how you want to go about it, right? Now, we do have Mustang being Mustang. Hit or miss, really interesting. They are running a lot more double damage characters than normal. They are playing this Louis Armstrong, Alex Lewis Armstrong, and this Armstrong as well. Kind of interesting choices, but not terrible at all. You know, you got the Rizas. You have Roy being able to just answer threats by himself. Just being able to discard cards, so you run a lot of draw triggers in your deck. The deck has an innate abilities to just have great draws, because majority of it is draw triggers and you have get triggers. So you're just always kind of 18 of these is definitely very powerful for this deck. And this is why it helps fuels the deck be able to achieve what you guys think. It's just like, man, they always seem to have cards in their hand. Well, that's kind of true. Another version here. Again, we have Edward at a full playset, which is very unique. Not a lot of players actually play this thing at a full playset, so kind of interesting to see the take on that. But then you have, you know, the energy generator Edward as well. So it comes down to just player preference, right? Now, we do have another one, this one playing only 2 of our Edward, which makes a lot more sense, right? But they are playing, you know, the military's in trouble, drawing 2 cards. Then if you only have 2 cards in your hand, draw an additional card. So being able to set off Roy to be able to remove those pesky 4Ks can be some great benefit as using this option as a target. Now again, Roy being Roy again, this one very similar to just that last list, but they are playing 2 Edward Double Energy Generator. Now we do have another version, and again, they're playing Edward at 2. So it's going to probably be what everyone kind of goes at, is this one at 2. Volto versus Riza. It's 4 or 3, your choice. There's no wrong answer. Taking a look here. Oh, look, another Armstrong special here. Wow. Now we got Crossfields. Again, this deck, Sword Art Online Blue, just being able to get in 8 attacks sometimes can win you games. The fact that basically the double attack can come out of nowhere and you get like 6 attacks, or even just getting up to 5 attacks alone with the Kiritos is just very powerful. And the ability to swap in and everything like that just makes you a very scary threat. Now we do have Sukuna being Big Sukuna. They're playing the Toto just to do some swap shenanigans. This one just to bounce some stuff off the board, you know, locking down your opponent. It definitely is a goal of this deck to use this Yuji Itadori to get the pieces to the fingers as soon as possible and just kill your opponent that way. Now, you do have more of a stock list you kind of come to know and love. They are playing, you know, Akari, Nita, just because it is a draw trigger instead of an act. It just comes in or out of whatever you guys decide is valued. And there's no real wrong way to build the deck. So, again, deck is very good. Some people play the Kento, some people don't. Now, again, Sword Art Online being Sword Art Online. They are playing... Oh, no, they're just doing 2-2 to throw everybody off. But, yeah, the deck is pretty good. Even in this format, just being able to get more attacks than your opponent is always going to be a troublesome pain in the rear for a lot of decks. Now, again, another Sword Art Online. Just being able to multi-attack and just deal that damage, really cool. Surprised they're only playing 2 sandwiches. They are going on full-on aggression mode, which is not bad at all. Just do whatever you feel is necessary just to get that win, right? If you feel like Asuna Sandwich is just not cutting it, then don't play it. Now we got Toto being swapped and attacked. This deck being able to swap the opponent's energy line and just swap it around and just make them have a bad day. Always scary. But the fact you have Goodwill Event to be able to get back into your Toto, being able to swap and then just do that, you know, this thing being a 6K is ridiculous. And being able to apply pressure it does is just chef's kiss. Like, this deck, bar none, is a very powerful meta contender. Now, again, taking a look here, we do have more Boogie Woogies, Goodwill Event, just to be able to get into your mech or Toto very comfortably, especially if your opponent's removing your stuff. Goodwill will get your stuff back. Now, again, taking a look here, they are playing the Toji in here, Toji. Just 5K that you have to deal with. A lot of decks just don't comfortably deal with this kind of threat, so it's not a bad thing to have. Now, again, we're getting into Purple Bleach. This is Squad 0. 3 copies of this Ichigo, 1 of this, and 3 Ichibei. Very commonplace just to ramp up correctly. Not anything out of the ordinary here. You do have 3 palaces, which is kind of confusing to me. I would figure you want to be at a full playset. Now, again, another list. 4 palaces makes a lot more sense just because we are seeing more and more threat removal cards of sites, so just be ready for that. But taking a look here, there's no real wrong answer to this. I think, you know, Royal Palace is very powerful. There's just nothing bad. Taking a look here, we do have another one. Just plain old deck that likes to play the deck. This deck is extremely good into the meta. There's just no real wrong answer to play this. Now let's take a look. This is a list that I personally play. I like it a lot. Just the Rukias being able to have the target now is pretty decent. It's definitely gotten me some wins, and I've lost with this deck. So it's a very powerful deck, and your opponent has to be ready for this playstyle, and just knowing what you're doing with it really puts you ahead. Now again, here's another squad 0, but they are playing Byakuya Kuchiki. This can be very scary for some players because they're not ready for Byakuya, just being able to have that impact, but also the fact that it being able to neg the board by 1,000 means that you can make some really good favorable trades. Now again, you do have another squad 0. This one's more pure. This is pure as well. So there's no real wrong answer how you want to build the deck, right? So it's up to you. Some people do value, Mr. 5-drop. Some people just want to keep it on curve at 4. There's no real bad answer to how you deck build, right? There are plenty of really good squad 0, like this 3 cost Ichibei. There's nothing wrong here. Then we have the Father Homunculus list. Having King Bradley plus Father for that end turn is just nasty, because when King Bradley is when played, choose up to 1 character on your field. It gains this character cannot be chosen by your opponent's trigger abilities until the end of turn. So this makes Father just be able to clear house very comfortably. Now again, King Bradley being able to do when played, it becomes a 5k double attack, and then choose 1 character on your opponent's front line and loses 1,000 DP until the end of turn. Really nasty. This deck has a great combination with Kimbei. Kimbei choosing up to 1 character with 3,000 DP on your opponent's front line. Sideline it. That's why you combo it with King Bradley. Place 1 Philosopher's Stone card from your sideline into the room area. If you do, this character gains impact. You do have Pride with the ability to sideline 1 Kimberly. If you do draw a card and this character becomes a 5k impact, just really solid at the end of the day. And again, up to you how you want to play it. Now again, Code is just doing Code shenanigans. They are starting to play, some impact negates, because you're going to need it. At this point, a lot of decks now have impact themselves a little more consistently than your Gawains, and you just need to be able to shut off that impact damage. Lancelot's doing quite well as well. Nothing's really changed in this list. Most players are still playing that stock list that's been around forever, but eventually they will be moving over to greener pastures once Volume 2 comes out. Now we do have Speedo Sound Sonic. This is a very standard list. Just being able to swap in, getting in those multiple attacks can be very devastating for some decks, especially once you get them down to like 2 live. Asta's just doing Asta shenanigans, so just keep an eye out on this. The ability to just have Sea Dragon's Lair, just being able to, this character abilities on characters, abilities or events, being able to shut off, protections is really good. Being able to stop them from killing your thing is just really powerful, and it just makes your opponent have a bad day. So just something to think about, especially with Asta's doing stuff. Up to you how you want to build the decks, but I think this has some potential as well. Asta doing some Asta shenanigans as well. Like, there's no real wrong way to build Asta, in my opinion. Megamine being able to have the new support is just ridiculously good. Megamine being able to have Max Elephant or Rabbits, just being able to get those attacks in that you weren't really need before. Megamine being able to restand your Elephant, or even just the Fox totality, the Wolves, it just gets ridiculous fast. This one is a Greed combination Edward deck. I have no clue how this plays exactly, and I'm going to be straight honest with you, but if people find this useful, they use the Lin Yao as their ability, just so that, it depends on your energy generation, which, very interestingly enough, they're not playing Gate of Truth. So they're focusing more on energy generating in the back line, I'm guessing, and just setting themselves up. And then you have like Scar here, so choose up to one character on your opponent's front line, switch it to resting. If you have 7 or more energy generated, this character gains 1000 DP and impact. When attacking, your opponent places 2 cards from their sideline to the bottom of their deck in any order, which is not terrible. This gets rid of purple shenanigans. Now again, we have Bambies, you know, Giselle just being the heart and soul of this deck and just allowing you to do what you need to is ridiculous. Now, again, goddesses having the abilities they do just make it a very powerful, scary threat. Now, we do have another one. They are playing the greed, so maybe it's something we need to start testing. Greed in the list. You know, goddesses as well, just doing extremely well. You know, Saitama showing up in results even in the top 16, so of their regional. Just Saitama being Saitama. Now, again, another FullMetal Yellow. I think just players have to discover what works best for them, right? There's no wrong answer here. Now taking a look, another Saitama list, not terrible. Now again, another one, they are playing greed. So maybe it's just play greed is the way to go for these lists. I think that's what's going to come down to it, if especially with energy generated, like with Renri being able to make you a double energy generator. You know, choose up to 1 Yalfini if this and it gains this character can't be blocked by characters 4000 DP or less. Yeah, I think maybe we need to splash greed in these lists. We're taking a look. This is a heart and soul version. They are playing Lin Yao, but they also have, you know, Alphonse Edric being able to, you know, switch to resting sideline in this card, place 1 Edward Elric card with raid from your sideline face up under one of your non-rated Edward raids on your front line. If you do switch that character to active, which is not terrible. I think that has a lot of potential, being able to, especially because you use basically giving up your alchemy to be mortal just to be able to attack. But when you have your alchemy, you have your abilities again. So that's kind of cool. I think that's pretty unique in this game, where it's just, I love that. Let's go home. This might be a card that I play instead. I think just being able to get pieces back is just better. But all in all, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.